Most veterans with a 100% PNT rating think about their benefits only inside America. Monthly compensation, healthcare, maybe base privileges. But here's what almost nobody in the retirement space talks about. Overseas, that same rating completely changes how immigration systems view you. Portugal charges many Americans hundreds just to start a residency application. The Philippines lets qualifying veterans enter with a $1,500 deposit. Panama accepts VA disability as pension income. Ecuador's threshold is lower than most Americans spend on rent. Most retirees apply abroad, hoping their savings are enough. Veterans with permanent disability income walk in with something fundamentally different: federally backed lifetime income that arrives every month regardless of the economy. A 100% PNT veteran in 2026 receives over $3,700 monthly tax-free. Add Social Security, and many veterans cross $5,000 monthly, with most of it federally protected. And those benefits don't stop at the border. VA disability continues overseas. The VA Foreign Medical Program reimburses service-connected treatment abroad. TRICARE Overseas covers additional care through reimbursement. Overseas, your VA rating functions less like a disability check and more like a government-backed retirement credential, guaranteed for life, inflation-adjusted, federally issued. Here's the real shift. Overseas, a 100% VA rating functions less like a disability check and more like a government-backed retirement credential. It's guaranteed for life, it increases with inflation, it's federally issued, and in some countries, veterans have access to residency pathways that standard retirees either struggle to qualify for or pay dramatically more to enter. Now, let's talk about the 5 countries where that matters most. Number 1, Philippines. The Philippines remains the most veteran-friendly country on Earth for retirement residency. The SRRV courtesy visa creates a special track that heavily favors retired military personnel and disabled veterans. Where standard applicants may need deposits reaching $20,000, qualifying veterans often enter around $1,500. English is everywhere. Hospitals, banks, government offices, restaurants. You can function completely without learning another language. There's already a massive American veteran community across Manila, Angeles City, Cebu, and areas near former U.S. military hubs like Clark and Subic Bay. Manila and Cebu offer strong private hospital systems by regional standards, and many veterans successfully use the VA Foreign Medical Program and TRICARE Overseas there. A couple can live comfortably outside luxury districts for roughly $1,400 to $1,800 monthly. The cultural familiarity runs deep. Decades of U.S. military presence created communities that genuinely understand American veterans, not just tolerate them. Local staff at major hospitals often speak English fluently, reducing the medical communication anxiety that stops many veterans from considering Asia entirely. Beyond healthcare, the day-to-day lifestyle adjustment for Americans is genuinely smaller here than anywhere else on this list. American food brands appear in major supermarkets. American-style malls exist in every major city. Cable and streaming services carry familiar programming. Veterans who worried about culture shock often report that the Philippines feels surprisingly comfortable within the first few weeks, not because it's identical to America, but because it was shaped so heavily by American culture over generations that the overlap is impossible to miss. The retirement community infrastructure specifically built around veterans also deserves recognition. Organized veteran social groups, American Legion posts, and VFW chapters operate actively across major Philippine cities. For veterans who worry about isolation, one of the most serious and underreported challenges of retiring abroad, that existing network means you're never starting from zero socially. Connections exist before you even land. Infrastructure outside major cities can frustrate quickly. Power outages, inconsistent roads, and internet issues hit hard in provincial areas. Healthcare quality also drops sharply outside Manila or Cebu. Stay realistic about location. Number 2, Panama. Panama runs entirely on the US dollar. No exchange rate stress, no currency conversion losses, no watching your income shrink because a local currency collapsed. For veterans already managing fixed income, that stability alone changes the financial equation dramatically. The Pensionado Visa requires roughly $1,000 monthly in lifetime pension income, a threshold most 100% P&T veterans clear through VA disability alone. Attached to that visa is a nationwide discount system, covering utilities, prescriptions, entertainment, travel, and hospital services. Panama essentially built an entire economic incentive structure around attracting retirees. Geographically, you're only a few hours from Miami. Major private hospitals in Panama City rank among the best in Latin America. Daily life feels more internationally connected than most of the region. That proximity to the US also matters practically. Emergency flights home are affordable and frequent. Shipping important medications or equipment from the States is straightforward. Veterans who want the lifestyle benefits of living abroad without feeling completely disconnected from America find Panama hits that balance better than almost anywhere else on this list. The banking situation in Panama also deserves specific mention. Panama City hosts a well-developed international banking sector, more sophisticated than most Latin American countries veterans consider. Opening a local account is relatively straightforward compared to places like Ecuador or Peru. That matters because managing dual finances across two countries is one of the most underestimated logistical challenges of retiring abroad, and Panama's financial infrastructure reduces that friction considerably for veterans transitioning from US-based banking systems. Panama's climate diversity also gives veterans genuine options that most single-city retirement destinations simply cannot offer. The highlands around Boquete run significantly cooler and drier than Panama City, a meaningful difference for veterans who find tropical humidity physically difficult to manage long-term. Many veterans split their time between both areas, using Panama City's superior medical infrastructure for appointments while actually living in the more comfortable highland climate daily. A couple outside Panama City's luxury towers operates comfortably around $1,800 to $2,200 monthly. Popular expat areas have become significantly more expensive since 2020. Humidity in lowland areas can be brutal for veterans with respiratory or cardiovascular conditions. Neighborhood selection matters enormously. Number 3, Portugal. If healthcare continuity matters more than low cost, Portugal may be the strongest option on this list. The D7 passive income visa accepts stable, recurring income. VA disability generally fits cleanly into that framework, especially when combined with Social Security. Portugal's private hospitals are modern and well organized. International insurance processing runs smoother here than in most countries veterans consider. And compared to the rest of Western Europe, Portugal still feels culturally accessible for Americans, less intimidating to navigate, more forgiving for English speakers still learning Portuguese. Outside Lisbon, costs remain genuinely reasonable. Porto, Braga, and parts of the Algarve still offer better value than most US cities. A couple lives comfortably between $2,200 and $2,800 monthly, depending on location. What often surprises veterans is how developed Portugal's expat legal infrastructure has become. Tax professionals, immigration attorneys, and relocation consultants who specifically understand American federal income, including VA disability, are easier to find here than almost anywhere else on this list. That professional ecosystem reduces the administrative friction that derails many overseas moves before they even start. Portugal also offers something less tangible but genuinely valuable for veterans managing service-connected conditions long-term: stability. The country's political environment is calm. The healthcare system doesn't shift dramatically between governments. Prescription medications are consistently available. For veterans whose medical situations require reliable, ongoing treatment rather than emergency-only care, that institutional predictability matters enormously. Chasing the cheapest country works until your medication runs out or your specialist disappears. Portugal minimizes that risk better than most options on this list. Portugal's position inside the European Union also creates a longer-term advantage many veterans overlook initially. Once you establish legal residency and eventually qualify for permanent residency, travel across dozens of European countries becomes dramatically simpler. For veterans who want to explore Europe during retirement rather than stay permanently fixed in one location, Portugal functions as a genuinely powerful base, not just a place to live, but a gateway to a much larger region. Lisbon rents exploded in recent years. Tax advantages changed significantly after 2024. Speak with a local professional before assuming favorable treatment. Northern Portugal winters run cold, damp, and gray. Not ideal for veterans with joint pain. Number 4, Ecuador. Ecuador still has one of the lowest retirement income thresholds anywhere in the Western Hemisphere. In practical terms, many veterans qualify using VA disability income alone, without needing large savings or investment accounts. And because Ecuador uses the US dollar, you avoid currency volatility completely. Cities like Cuenca built large American expat populations over the last decade because the numbers still make sense. A couple can often live comfortably between $1,200 and $1,600 monthly, depending on housing and healthcare choices. And compared to the United States, that creates an enormous monthly surplus for many veterans. What makes Ecuador's cost advantage particularly powerful for veterans is how it compounds over time. A veteran saving $1,500 to $2,000 monthly compared to their previous US lifestyle isn't just living cheaper. They're rebuilding financial reserves, paying down debt, funding emergency medical accounts, and creating genuine long-term security that fixed income inside America rarely allows. For veterans who arrived at retirement without substantial savings, Ecuador's low threshold doesn't just reduce stress. It can fundamentally restructure their financial future within just a few years of disciplined living. Cuenca specifically has developed a remarkably organized expat support network. English-speaking real estate agents, bilingual doctors, American-friendly banking assistants, and established veteran social communities already exist there. The infrastructure for arriving Americans is more developed than most people expect from a country at this price point, meaning the transition curve is significantly less steep than Ecuador's reputation for difficulty might suggest. Ecuador's climate in the highland regions also works unexpectedly well for many veterans. Cuenca sits in a valley that produces what locals genuinely call eternal spring, temperatures hovering between the mid-50s and low 70s year-round, with no extreme humidity and no brutal winter. For veterans accustomed to painful seasonal transitions in northern American states, that consistent mild climate delivers a quality of life improvement that goes far beyond monthly savings alone. But Ecuador comes with instability risks. Political unrest and security concerns have increased over the past few years. TRICARE reimbursement processing can feel inconsistent, and altitude matters more than people expect. Cuenca sits over 8,000 feet above sea level. Veterans with respiratory or cardiovascular conditions need to take that seriously before relocating. Ecuador still offers one of the best cost-to-residency ratios on this list, but it's not a carefree move. Number 5, Peru. Peru might be the least discussed country here, but for some veterans, it quietly offers one of the best balances between cost, healthcare quality, and residency accessibility. The Pensionado Visa accepts stable retirement-style income, and VA disability generally qualifies without major issues. Lima's private healthcare system is stronger than many Americans expect, especially in districts like Miraflores and San Isidro. And monthly costs still remain dramatically below most US cities. A couple living comfortably in Lima can often stay around $1,400 to $1,900 monthly, depending on lifestyle. What separates Peru from other budget-friendly options on this list is the unexpected quality ceiling available at moderate price points. In Miraflores specifically, veterans can access genuinely world-class restaurants, modern fitness facilities, reliable high-speed internet, and well-maintained apartment buildings, all at prices that would be considered entry-level in most American cities. The gap between what your dollar buys in Lima versus what it buys in a mid-sized American city is not subtle. It is dramatic and immediately obvious within days of arriving. Peru's geographical diversity also gives veterans lifestyle options that single climate countries simply cannot match. Lima sits on the coast. Cusco offers highland living. Arequipa, often called the White City, provides a smaller, calmer alternative to Lima, with its own strong private medical infrastructure and a growing but less crowded expat community. Veterans who want urban convenience without committing permanently to a massive capital city find Arequipa particularly compelling as a long-term base that most retirement channels never mention. Lima's culinary reputation also deserves mention beyond lifestyle. It directly affects healthcare-adjacent choices. Peru's food culture is built around fresh vegetables, lean proteins, and diverse whole ingredients. Veterans managing weight-related conditions, cardiovascular concerns, or inflammation-based service-connected disabilities often report meaningful lifestyle improvements simply from shifting to locally available fresh food at prices a fraction of American grocery costs. But Peru requires more adaptation than the Philippines or Panama. English is much less common outside expat-heavy areas. TRICARE reimbursement timelines can still stretch for weeks, and politically, Peru has been unstable for years. Presidents change constantly. Policy changes happen fast. Lima's climate also affects people psychologically more than expected. The city spends large parts of the year under heavy gray coastal clouds, locals literally call the gray season. But before you book anything, there are 3 problems veteran expat channels almost never warn you about. Trap 1. The VA address problem. Changing your official VA address overseas can occasionally trigger administrative reviews or delays. Most long-term expats keep a stable US mailing address and work with a VA-accredited representative before changing anything major. Trap 2. The TRICARE cash gap. TRICARE overseas usually reimburses after you pay up front. That means you need real liquid cash reserves before moving abroad. If you land overseas with no emergency fund and end up hospitalized in month 1, you could be waiting weeks for reimbursement. Trap 3. Banking problems. Your VA payments work best through stable US-based banking. Most experienced veteran expats use banks with low international ATM fees and strong fraud systems. Trying to reroute federal payments directly into unstable foreign banking systems is where problems start. And when people say, why not just move to a cheaper American state? This is the part nobody wants to admit. Even the cheapest retirement states in America now push many couples above $3,000 monthly once healthcare, insurance, utilities, and housing are included. In Ecuador, Peru, or parts of the Philippines, many veterans are operating closer to half that. So this isn't really about escaping America. It's about whether your fixed income buys survival or actual freedom. A 100% P&T rating is no longer just a domestic benefit category. Overseas, it becomes something much more powerful. Stable lifetime income, internationally respected pension-level credibility, and in some countries, a direct pathway into residency systems designed specifically to attract retirees. The Philippines lowered the barrier dramatically for qualifying veterans. Panama built an entire retirement economy around pension income. Portugal offers healthcare continuity many veterans prioritize more than cost. But these systems change. Visa rules change, tax rules change, income thresholds change, and the countries seeing massive waves of American retirees are already starting to adjust. So the real question isn't whether these opportunities exist. It's which one still fits your situation before the rules tighten further. Now, if you want to see the best English-speaking countries for regular Social Security retirees, no VA benefits required. Watch this video right here.